if you can imagine Rutledge, Franklin, and Adams coming across on a little ferry boat over the Raritan and landing here on this beach and walking up this path to this house over here where Lord Howe waited. Now, if you know anything about what actually happened, we had already lost the Battle of Brooklyn, or also known as the Battle of Long Island sometimes. So I think the British were pretty confident that these American traitors were going to come crawling and begging for forgiveness and mercy when they got up to that house, because they had already been beaten. But when those three men, and I'm sure they sweat bullets the whole way up this beach to that house, because it could have been a trap, they could have been assassinated, the British could have easily not let them leave that house, but they did it. And they went up there and they told the British, like Tom so eloquently put it, where to shove it. And they declared that America will be a free and independent country. Over the next many years, they struggled, both in a bloody physical battle with the British, and then afterwards to establish the government that we now have allowed to be trampled on over the past 100 or 150 so years. I think immediately after the Constitution and Bill of Rights were ratified, the forces of progressivism and globalism immediately went to work in trying to undo what had been done. The British sent infiltrators in the form of financiers to try and cause America to become indebted to Britain and to Europe, so then they could take control back of this land via that debt. That brings us to today. And I know, like many of you, over the past 2 or 3 years, as this country has taken in what can only seem like an insane turn, and we have marched so quickly into this, what I can only call fascism. It's a march towards fascism, and I know a lot of people say that's a radical word to use, but when you have a marriage of corporate power and government controlling the people and taking away the people's rights and literally buying away the people's rights, that's fascism. Let's call it what it is. We have a private Federal Reserve Bank. It is not a government agency like the name implies. It is a private bank, and it is owned by private banks. And this is who controls our monetary system and the monetary policy that gets set in this country. And they have hijacked this country. So what can we do? A lot of people tell me, well, I don't know why you're running. You know, do you really think you can make a difference? And do you really think you can, there's so much corruption, and New York is one of the most corrupt, second only probably to Chicago, state legislatures. And I think more important than whether or not I can make a change is that I have to try, is that I have to fight. I cannot just allow these people to do what they're doing, to walk all over us, and to take our rights one by one by convincing us and buying us with entitlement programs and these things that they convince us to willingly give up our rights. So, I have my research team working on several things. We're working on a sovereignty bill. Chairman Ed is leading that, where we can cut off the federal government's control over the state. And this is going to be painful. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to lie and say we're going to go up there. And it wasn't easy for Adams and Franklin and Rutledge to go up to that house and win independence. It's not going to be easy, because we're going to have to refuse to take federal money, because that's how the federal government buys influence over the state, is with federal money. We're going to have to refuse federal money. And in an economy the way we are now, it's not going to be easy to do that. But we're all going to have to cooperate with each other. And we have the Tea Parties, which is an amazing mobilization of the middle class. But I think what we need to do is, individually, we need to be talking to everybody that we can and explaining to them the principles of liberty that transcend the parties, This isn't about Democrat or Republican or whatever other parties, whatever third parties. It's not about the left versus the right, because this is about our lives. And no matter what party you think you are loyal to, you need to be more loyal to yourself and loyal to the rights that you have been given by God, and protect those rights by refusing to be bought off by the federal government. So one of the things that we're doing is introducing a sovereignty bill that would cut off their influence. And we're working on several other things. And I'm running out of I'm running out of steam. I appreciate everybody for coming out. You guys are real patriots for you to come out tonight. I know it was short notice, and so I appreciate that. We did not want to let Constitution Day go by. This should really be, along with the 4th of July, the most important holiday that we celebrate. Or aside from celebrating God, it should be this day. So without further ado, let me play the film. And this is a great film made by a friend of mine, Gary Franchi, based out of Chicago. And there are patriots. I want to let you guys know, because I go to a lot of conferences all over the country. There are a lot of patriots everywhere standing up. And it's not just the Tea Party. This has been going on before the Tea Party. And we thank God that the Tea Party rose up and woke up and came. But there have been patriots fighting all along. And they need your support, and there are a lot of great organizations you can get involved in. So the most important thing is that you do get involved. Doesn't matter what group it is, as long as you're doing something. So I'm going to put the film on. Don't tread on me.